in.
Alright, how's it going everybody, and welcome back. This is going to be the Phase 2 guide for Dragonsong. If you want to see Phase 1, link is down in the description below. There's going to be the playlist. We're going to be doing all the phases step by step, taking it slow. This is going to be the LPDU strats for the light data center on the European data center. And so if you're on EU and PFing, or if you want to take this in a static setting, you can. Also, other people from other servers, they also do these strats, so they're commonly well known, but this is what LPDU follows as well. So we're going to be discussing that, showcasing it. Make sure you guys check out LPDU. If you're down to PF, link is down in the description for the LPDU Discord, and let's get this started. In the beginning here, the group would stack all south, and there'd be a main tank facing here. Thor is going to be casting Ascalon's Mercy Concealed, which basically targets every single player, and when the cast bar is done, you're going to dodge to the side. After you dodge to the side, Thordan will cleave the shit out of the tank, and so mitigate as it's necessary here. And then now it's time to kick his ass. This is obviously a checkpoint, so if you do die here, you don't go back to phase 1, you pretty much start here. Okay, so also this toolbox I'll be linking in the description so you can see it for yourself as well. This is the LPDU toolbox. So the one thing to know here is the letter markers, the letters and the numbers. A, B, C, and D is where Group 2 is going to go, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is where Group 1 is going to go. There's going to be a mechanic right in the beginning where you need to actually spread out in one of those areas, which I'll explain now by going to the next slide. So in this example, you're going to have these knights spawn in either cardinals or intercardinals on these markers, okay? So the way to do this is, basically, there's going to be a dragoon on either of those, and you have to pay attention to where they are. So for example, let's look at A marker. There's a dragoon there, which means A and 1 are fully unsafe, right? There's a dragoon at 2, so 2 and B are unsafe. They just go in a straight line dashing forward. So think of it as color code. If a dragoon is on a color red like A marker, then A and 1, which are red, is unsafe. In this example, yellow is unsafe. In this example also, blue is unsafe, 3 and C. There's a dragoon here, so he's going to dash forward. So, Group 1 is going to go to 4, and Group 2 is going to go to D, because there is no dragoons on either of these sides. The best way to figure out how to see where the knights are instantly and go to your spot is take southeast if you're Group 2, and if you're Group 1, take southwest, so between 3 and 2, and then Group 2 goes between C and D. This way, you angle your camera in such a way that you see all the dragoons across the board. You'll know exactly where to go. If you're in the middle and you're spinning your camera around, right, it's gonna be harder for you to figure out where the dragoons are, and it will probably take you longer. But if you position your camera a certain way, you'll be able to see everything. So in this example you see here, we go to 4 and D. After that, there's gonna be Granat. He can be either far or near a specific group. In this example, he is close to Group 1. Now, what he's gonna do is he's gonna do like a earth shatter where he smacks the ground and then AoE start going outwards. You're gonna have to practice the timing on this. I'll be showcasing a POV for this, but essentially, he's gonna smack the ground and it's gonna go outwards. You want to dodge, if you're close to Granat, in this example, this Group 1 is close to Granat, you're going to dodge on the second shatter, and you want to be on the edge if you're these players. The lineup for this is you want to stand spread out like this in a kind of like triangle shape, with tank in the middle, range DPS on the right of the tank, melee DPS on the left of the tank, and then the healer is forward. Okay, so the healer can dodge into the first one if they wish, and there's going to be AoEs. The reason you're spread out like this is going to be AoEs on every player. So basically, after the first shatter, you're going to stack together on the tank and then move forward. In Group 2 side, they are far from Granat, and keep in mind, Granat can spawn either far or near a group. He can spawn wherever. So you have to pay attention where he is when you get to your spot. In this example, you can either wait 2 or 3. If you wait 2, you need to move a bit forward. So he goes 1, 2, 3, and then you walk in. Don't walk in when it's 4 waves coming out, okay? So I'll be showcasing this example here. So here we go. AoEs go off, right? And now, healer dodges into the first one. Now the second one's coming, okay? You can see this group here. They're on the very edge, and they're gonna walk into it now. After this second one goes off, they walk into it. And this group is gonna walk into the third AoE that comes, because Granat is far away. So now you're gonna walk into the third one. And then, keep in mind, Thordan is casting Ascalon's Mercy Concealed. What this does is basically, he will kind of do a bait on each player, so they need to be stacked until the cast is done. Once the cast is done, move to the side. There's gonna be like a slice forward. And I'm sorry, but I did forget to mention this in the beginning, but in the beginning here, he does the exact same thing. Every player will get this kind of line bait, and you have to move to the side when the cast bar is done. Okay, so that's basically the steps for this, and this is how it looks. This is how wide it is. You just have to dodge it, okay? Now, I'm going to be showcasing in-game POV of this. Alright everyone, so here's the POV for Thordan. We're going to go over it from the beginning. First of all, you obviously face the boss north. He's going to do some smacking on the tank, and here's Ascalon's Mercy Concealed. This cast bar right here, this is the one, once it finishes, you want to dodge to the side. So as you can see here, we all just dodge to the side and avoid that. It's basically baitable where you're standing, so make sure you stand together. And then obviously Thordan will do like 3 smacks on the tank. In this example, Landa is being hit by these waves. And now the mechanic begins here. And what you're going to do here, as you can see, I move between B and C. This way I am southeast, and I have full visual on every single marker and every single letter, number, whatever. I can see everything. Okay, so you want to angle your camera this way. And as you can see, there's a Dragoon here on C marker. So blue color of the markers is not safe. I see there's a Dragoon on 1 marker, so red is unsafe. So 1 and A are unsafe. And I see that there is a Dragoon on marker 2. So yellow is unsafe. 2 and B is not safe. So this means D and 4, purple, is safe. So what I do here is we go to D, and you can see Granat. Granat is near. Watch how I dodge this. And here's how you stand, by the way. If you're in the center, you stand right in the marker. And then if you're DPS, you want to stand at least 5 shards away. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see, I'll show you the AoE right here. If you stand around the 5th, you're good to go. Don't be too near because you might clip the tank with your AoE. So stand at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Between 4 and 5 is fine. You'll see here, this is the AoE that goes off and it doesn't clip the tank. So as long as you're 5 shards away, you're good. And now, here comes Granat's smack. So I already did the first smack. Healer walked in after the first smack because they're already standing in front, so they can just walk into it. Here comes the second one. Once this happens and you're near, you're gonna walk into this. Or you can be a ninja like me and just Shikuchi, forehead. But yeah, you can just walk. Now, King Thordan is obviously going to be doing a cast bar, and I'm sorry, my Twitch chat is covering the enmity list here, but King Thordan in the enmity list, watch it and see what he's casting, right? Once that cast bar finishes, move. So now it's finished, you will move and dodge, just like so. All right, now on to the next part. So now that you've dodged and done all that movement, now here's what you're going to do. The best thing to identify where Thordan will spawn here, which is necessary for this mechanic, is to look at the 2 paladins. This paladin's taken up this area, and this paladin has taken up this area, which means Thordan will spawn on 4 marker. In this example here, you'll see paladins are here, Thordan will be here. It's always opposite side of where the paladins are. So that's the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna immediately just look at Thordan and use him as north, okay? Now, 3 people are gonna get these markers, kind of like prey. It's not exactly prey, but basically it's like a blue eye above your head, which means you're going to get dived on by a Dragoon on top of your head, and you want to be away from people, so you have to spread out. Those people are going to go west, east, and south. There is no priority for this, so you have to adjust. Just get good and adjust. And whoever claims the spot, hold it, let the other person who didn't get there move, basically. Basically, this is a very flexible. Okay? So, the people who get nothing, in this example, Ninja, Dragoon, and Scholar, they will all stack on 4 marker where Thordan is, so they will just go to Thordan, okay? The tanks, what they're gonna do is they're gonna grab the Paladin tether, so there's gonna be a tether coming out, and literally just stand on top of the Paladin, or basically stand where Thordan is, between Thordan and the Paladin. There's gonna be a tether, because the tether can go on a random person, even on DPS or healer. So you want to make sure this tank quickly grabs it. And basically this is the movement right here. So we run to Thordan, do like an X shape, and you will mitigate this. So in this case, Rampart is used on the tanks here. And you can see these 3 people now. West, east, and south are safe. So B marker, D marker, and 2 marker are safe. Now they have to go in their positions. Okay, the tanks will go in like an X shape. They will cross their tethers like so. Okay, and here we go. Everyone's in their position, and it's very important that if you're on west and east of Thordan, you want to stand like this away from Thordan. You see where 2 marker is? You stand away from Thordan on that marker. Since Thordan is here, you want to go a little bit like this, and White Mage go a little bit like this, so you don't clip the other players, because the AoE is pretty massive, and if you stand like directly center of the marker or a little bit here, you can actually clip the tank and potentially kill him. So you don't want to do that. So make sure you stand a little bit away from Thordan like this. It's very important. So the towers are going to spawn like so. There's going to be a tower in front of the White Mage. There's going to be a tower in front of the Dancer. There's going to be a tower in front of the RDM. Okay, so each of these players that are marked and have this mark on top of their head, they're going to have a tower literally right in front of them. All right? And the DPS that are stacked, they're going to move into their towers, but it's flexible. You're going to tell the other players where you're going to go by kind of standing next to the tower, spamming jump, or line yourself up along this marker to tell you which one you're taking. So if you're standing here on this side, you're telling the team, hey, I'm taking this one. You know, you have to use body language here, especially in PF. You have to use your body language of your character to tell them where you're going to go, because, again, this is very random. There is no prio system on who takes what tower, so you'll have to quickly just take a spot and go there. So there you go. This is how the towers are resolved. The tanks obviously mitigate those tethers, and then it's going to be the next mechanic. But before we get to the next mechanics, I will show you the POV of how we just did all this. All right, so here we go. We just finished dodging the earth smacks, and now, as you can see here, I immediately look at these 2 paladins. Okay, so there's a paladin here and a paladin here. I immediately turn my camera around behind me because Thordan is going to spawn there. Okay, so you can see I turn my camera around. I know Thordan's here. I immediately move. The faster you solve this, the faster you know where Thordan is, the easier this mechanic is going to be, because you have time to move out and stuff, but you want to be quickly moving. So in this example, you can see I'm on here and I'm spamming jump. You see I had that tether, by the way. That tether got plucked off. This is what I meant when the tether needs to be plucked by tank. They just stand in front of the paladin and boom, they just pluck it off like that. Okay, so here we go. I'll show this again. I go here, I spam jump, so I tell the other players that don't have marker, like, hey, I'm taking this. And then you can see, we all know what we gotta do. We take the stack marker, and then we move to our towers. The tank tether busters, or tank tether hits go off, and then it's Ancient Quagga. You wanna feint this if you're melee, or just mitigate it as you need to here. So the Ancient Quagga is a raid wide. Here's a perspective when I don't have the stack. You get this blue eye marker on top of your head, and I look at Thordan and I take left here, for example. You see A marker? I go the side of A marker that is away from Thordan. So I am on the right side of A marker while Thordan is over here on my left. Okay? This way I don't clip or hit anyone. So this goes off, and then I walk in and I soak my tower. Just like so. And that's it. Okay, so Heavenly Heal here, this is physical tank buster, and you can see Boom. Hishi got hit by this, so he has a slashing resistance down, which means the slashes that Thordan does after is going to hurt a lot, so you need to tank swap here. In this example, Landa obviously takes the tank now, and as you can see, Hishi is positioned away from the boss, behind, so he doesn't get hit by this slash because he has slash resistance down. So a tank swap is necessary here, so you want to make sure you get that done. So as the slashing happens right here, the next mechanic will begin, which is called Sanctity of the Ward. And this mechanic, it's very simple. I will make it as simple as possible. Let's go ahead and explain this. Okay, so this is Sanctity of the Ward. What you're gonna do basically is you're gonna have groups being sorted in this. Group 2 will go towards the Dark Knight ad, okay? In this example, Group 2 is here. Group 1 is going to be away from the Dark Knight. So they're gonna be away from the Dark Knight, running to the edge of the map. Now, some people could get sword 1 or sword 2 on top of their head. If you have a 1 sword, you're gonna go away from the Dark Knight. If you have a 2 sword, you're gonna go towards Dark Knight. Now, 1 and 2 sword can be completely random who gets it, okay? Which makes things interesting, because obviously you have to adjust. You can't have 3 people go on one side. What if your group member has 1 sword? Let's say this ninja, he's a group 2 member, but he has to move towards group 1 now because he has a 1 sword. So what do you do? In this example, because ninja has 1 sword, Dragoon will move to group 2. It's your role partner. So melee, for example, I have sword 1, Dragoon will move to group 2. Another example, let's say healers. If Scholar, who's a group 2 member, and White Mage, right? White Mage has 2 right now, as you can see. So they have to go towards Dark Knight, which means the Scholar will simply go opposite Dark Knight. This makes it a 4-4 split. The best advice I can give you here is focus target your partner so there's a giant arrow on top of their head, and then you can see if they have a 1 sword or a 2 sword. The only thing you need to care about here is if your role partner has a sword or not. That's all you care about. Don't look at everyone else. It doesn't matter what they all have. Only look at your partner. Example, if you're a tank, you look at the tank person. If you're a ranged fizz, you look at the other ranged DPS, etc., etc. You know what I mean. So that's all you care about. Pay attention to your partner only, and then move, flex if needed. So here we go. You're gonna run towards that direction, right? Towards Dark Knight and away from Dark Knight, and then you're gonna see how the ads are facing in the middle. If they're facing like this, this means you're gonna go towards the side they're facing. So because this is going like this, right? You're gonna go towards looking outside, you go left. Because of the way they're facing. It's going to be anti-clockwise movement. Now obviously it can be clockwise also. I will show this in-game POV. Once you're here at the edge, by the way, you want to look away from 2 gazes. One will be on the very edge of the arena, like a big eye, and one will be Thordan. He will also gaze. So you have to look away from this. If you get hit by this, it's pretty much GG. What you want to do here, by the way, is you want to move at least 3 notches in the direction the paladins are facing. So 3 notches to the left here, looking out. I will show this in the game so it's more clear. But basically here's what happens. The dragoons, the paladins, they're gonna do their thing, and there's gonna be some smacking going on. So you have to wait in front here, wait for the AoE in front of you to explode, and then walk in based on what movement you're doing, whether it's clockwise or anti-clockwise, based on where the paladins are facing. Okay, so in this example, once the AoE pops, so we move forward. Same thing on the other group. AoE in front of you explodes, just move forward. That's all you need to do for this dodge. Okay, and that's that. So let me show this in the game. All right, so here's how this looks. I look towards Dark Knight because I'm melee too. As you can see, I check Kala, the samurai. That's all I care about. I just look at the other melee. And I see that the other melee doesn't have a sword on top of their head. I'll even show this a little bit more clearly. See, right there. There's an arrow on top of their head because I clicked on them and they're also focus targeted. So I can see they don't have a sword. So we go to default positions, okay? By default, I will go towards Dark Knight because I'm a group 2 member. And Kala, the samurai, by default, will go opposite of Dark Knight as a group 1 member. And that's it. And then we just move into our positions. And as you can see here, I will just make sure this is clarified where the paladins are facing. You can see the way the paladins are facing here. They're facing like this, right? If you look at my mouse, they're looking like this. So based on where they're facing, that's where you're gonna go. You get me? So this is facing like this. We go here on the third notch of the shuriken. I call it shuriken, but people call it sometimes Mitsubishi or whatever. But it's this symbol right here. So as you can see here, this symbol, move 3 notches to the right of it or left of it, depending where the paladins are facing, and then look out. The gazes go off. Here we go. That's the AoE that popped in front of me. I'm gonna move in and then stand between those two. These balls you see here, these are the balls that do the AoE. So once again, I'll show the movement. See, this AoE in front of me explodes. Once it explodes, we move in. And then we stand right here between these 2 balls so we don't get hit. That's the only dodge you need to do. It's very simple. You get muscle memory for it with time. You just need to get the right timing. Now I'm going to be explaining Meteors, pretty much the hardest mechanic in Phase 2. So let's talk about this. Alright, I'm going to be explaining this as simply as possible because this can be overwhelming in a lot of scenarios. Okay, there's so many patterns to this, so here we go. Tank and ranged will go north and south, and melee and healers will go west and east. Obviously, group 1 healers, group 1 healer and melee are west, group 2 melee and healer are east, R1 main tank north, off tank R2 south. 2 players will get marked with prey for meteors, and they will go to north and south by default. If you get this, you want to run north and south. All players in the same role as prey, they must remember to go out for towers. So in this example, okay, let me try to explain this. In this example, a tank and a healer have prey. This means every other tank and healer, so the Gunbreaker and Scholar, they have to go out of the edge of the arena to soak the tower. Because towers, for prey people, they always go out. The DPS will not go out unless there's 2 towers that need to be soaked, because obviously one person cannot soak 2 towers, so the DPS has to go out and soak that one. There's a priority in which tower you take, and I will be explaining this in a moment. But basically, this is the rule of thumb you want to follow. Prey people are going to go north and south. So in this example, Dark Knight's already north, and there's a healer white mage. How do you choose who swaps from these? The Gunbreaker. You choose support to swap, okay? The ideal movement is always going to be clockwise. So what you do as white mage here, the first thing you do is look clockwise of you. Is there a meteor person in clockwise? If there is, you're not going to go there because they have prey. So you're going to go the other side. You're going to look anti-clockwise south, and then you're going to swap with the Gunbreaker. Just like so, right? Remember, if you have prey and you're on the west and east, you're going to go clockwise first. The other person who's your, the support role, I like to call it, tanks and healers, they need to pay attention that you're coming and then swap like so. Okay? So they will flex to keep pairs for the ice mechanic. There needs to be 2 people on each cardinal here, because there's going to be an ice that needs to be soaked by 2 players. Okay? Now, there's towers here. This is an example of a tower pattern. You have 3 towers in the middle here, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towers. Okay? All you care about is your quadrant. So if you're east, you care about this quadrant. Okay? These towers. And if you're A marker, you care about these only. There's always going to be either, usually 3 towers. Usually 2 towers can spawn on the edge, or 1 tower. So pay attention to this, okay? So, here's the ice. It goes off, and then you're going to have these, like, puddles. But yeah, the ice puddles, they spawn on the pair first here. The fire puddles will spawn on the intercardinals. And basically, the Meteor role players go out for towers, okay? So in this example here, since the Dark Knight has prey, he will always go out, okay? Because his prey. And every other support role will prioritize going out as well. So in this example here, since tank is prey and the supports are going out, the scholar would go out. The ninja would go in to soak a tower that's in, because he's not support role and his role doesn't have prey. So he will take prioritize in and then clockwise. These guys will always take in and then clockwise. If a clockwise tower isn't available to you, because there are patterns where it might not be available, what you'll do is you'll go to the middle and then fill the last spot. Don't just rush in and take one for yourself. Go to the middle and then fill the last spot that's remaining. We can take this RDM as an example here. When he goes up here, there is no tower available for him right now. So what clockwise of him. So he's gonna go to the center of the arena, let the other people fill, and then the RDM will claim the spot. Let's go step by step. First tower. All right, in this example, the north Meteor player can either get northwest or northeast, right? So how do you choose, right? They should get northeast to be as far as possible from the other Meteor player, which is south, okay? Try to maximize the distance, unless it's a cursed pattern, which will be like northeast and southeast towers only, or like northwest and southwest. When we say cursed pattern, it means that you need to stutter step your movement so your meteor doesn't hit the other person's meteor when it drops. If any meteors touch each other at any point during this, it will literally just end the whole fight. It will just be GG. It's over. So, in this example here, we take northeast, so you have to look behind. If you're Dark Knight here, look behind to see what tower is available, okay? If this Dark Knight takes northwest tower, you're kinda screwing over the white mage, because now when he moves all the way clockwise, you always move clockwise for these, he's gonna touch the Dark Knight's meteor that he dropped here, and you don't want that. So the Dark Knight makes life easier for the white mage by moving northeast. So north and south are very flexible in which tower they take, okay? Because they need to look at their other side at south and see which towers are available, and then they move accordingly to that. Okay, so each pair basically has a quadrant. North pair is north quadrant, you know, east pair is east quadrant, all that. And a quadrant consists of the cardinal and two intercardinals closest to it. Let's take a look at west, for example. So there's going to be a tower on 3 marker, or a tower over here on top of 3 marker, or a tower below 3 marker. It can be 3 right here. Now 2 will only appear, but they can spawn in any of those 3, right? That's just an example. If 2 towers are out on a quadrant, both the Meteor role player and the non-Meteor role player get the outer towers. So we can take the north people as an example. If there was only 1 tower north, the dancer would go in. But because there's 2, they have to both go out. And the Dark Knight has to tell the dancer that he's going to take this tower. And the way they do it in LPDU is they kind of walk towards that tower. They jump once, telling the dancer, like, hey, using body language, like telling them, hey, I'm going to take this. And they go back here, and then they go to positions. Meteors are very flexible with this. If you are east and west, and there are 2 towers, you want to prioritize going middle first and a cardinal if you're prey. So if your role has prey, for example, Dark Knight has prey, the Gunbreaker would go out and take the cardinal first as the prio, okay? The next prio would be left of 3 over here. And the final prio would be above 3, which is looking out facing right, okay? So this is the prio that we follow. Basically, you take the tower. In LPDU, the way it works is you take the tower that makes the most sense for what you're going to soak for the second set that spawns. Because this is only the first set of towers. There's going to be more towers coming after this for later. But basically, this is how it goes. In general, the inner players who go in, they take the closest tower clockwise of them. And if it's not there, you go to the middle and you fill. So here's how it goes. So Dark Knight goes into position, White Mage go into position. Now it's time to go clockwise. You're always going clockwise with Meteors, never anti-clockwise. And now you're gonna do the dodges, okay? So you're gonna drop these kind of like big rocks. So you have to kind of stagger your movement in some places here by like doing zigzag movement with the Meteor. Because if you don't zigzag and you just run in a straight line, you may end up risking touching someone, the other person's Meteor, and you don't want that. Zigzagging is pretty much safe. Now, once the Meteors are fully done, the people that were inner are going to get knocked back into their tower, like so. It's important to keep in mind that in this example, okay, the RDM, since they didn't have a tower clockwise of them, right, and they went to the middle and filled, when the knockbacks happen, they have to move back as if there was a tower clockwise, because they're gonna get knocked back this way, southwest. Everything is done clockwise. So for the person middle and filling, remember where you came from, and for the second set of towers, go to that place that you, as if there was a tower clockwise. You would head there. So look at the RDM. So the RDM is the one that filled. They soaked this tower, okay? Now, after soaking the tower, they get knocked back southwest, okay? The reason being is because they came from south, and you have to get knocked clockwise of that place that you came from, and just like that, you get the tower. Because if you were here, you would have taken the dancers, and you don't want that. Everything is done clockwise. And when I mean everything is done clockwise, I literally mean everything. Look at the dancer here, okay? They are not clockwise right now. The dancer in this example, they have to move clockwise going towards B side after the first set of towers done. Why? Because they're not the prey role. The prey role will take cardinals by default, right? Scholar, White Mage, Gunbreaker, all the support roles, they'll be taking the cardinal towers on the second set of towers that spawn. As you can see, the dancer here, he cannot stay here. You never move anti-clockwise because the Dragoon here is going to get knocked here. And he did, from west, he came out and then he went one step clockwise. So he's correct, he would get knocked like this. And remember, everything is clockwise, including this dancer here. He's going to move clockwise. As you can see, moves clockwise from his position. Literally, if you look at the cardinal tower, go clockwise of it. That's it. And when you're there, you will simply anti-knockback because there's going to be a knockback happening here. It's called Faith Unmoving. So you have to watch that cast bar. If you're in the middle, just take the knockback. You don't need the arm's length or anything like that. And that is Meteors. Now, I know this was a lot, so let's go over it step by step, POVs, and showing basically the movement. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to show you my example here, okay? So, I go on C marker because I'm melee 2, right? I'm facing C, as you can see here. Melee and Summoner, both of these people have Prey. This is the icon for Prey. You want to look at the party list here and see who has it. Okay, that's important. So, this means all DPS in this party are prioritized to go out. So in my example here, I will go out and take this tower on the outside of the arena, okay? Because it's only one tower, I don't have to worry about anything really. The person that's with me is gonna go in because they're healer. So as you can see here, here's my healer. My healer will go in. We're gonna drop the ice puddle goes out, and then I go out and I soak this tower, and then I take cardinal. Why do I go cardinal? Because my role is prey. Prey roles always take cardinals. So even if I'm not the one that has Meteor, your entire role, all the DPS roles in this case, would all take cardinal. So I'm taking directly C marker, and here comes the dodges. The movement for the Meteors. I just anti-knockback, Faith Unmoving. Faith Unmoving shows up in the enmity list, by the way, so pay attention to that. I will be showcasing some more POVs here. Okay, here's a different POV of when I actually get Meteors, so you get the movement. So, I have Prey. I am a Prey role, and I have the Meteor. Okay. The first thing I do is I look to the center, and I move clockwise of my position. As you can see, there's already someone here. Carl, who is the bard, since they're range 1, they just stay there. They don't have to move. If you're north, you're north, and you stay there. And then I move clockwise of where I'm standing, and then I see here, okay, we swap. See that? So now I'm with the white mage here. We're both stacked. So you can see that there are 2 towers here, okay? So I immediately take the cardinal one. You always take cardinal one, and then you move. And here's the dodging. Look at this zigzag pattern. Just moving in a zigzag motion. It's not a cursed pattern, so I can just take my time with it. I don't have to rush. And boom, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to show this again. Once I look at C, I immediately, as I'm moving, I point my camera towards south. So I'm like, oh, okay. They have a cardinal tower. And I have a cardinal tower. So I'm not going to risk hitting his meteor with my meteor because we're both cardinal and I just take my time. A cursed pattern would be if this tower, there's only 1 tower here and then 1 tower here, and then now I have to move a lot slower, zigzagging my way there, because if I move too fast, it's gonna hit his meteor that he placed. Okay, I'm gonna play with audio so you can get a feel of the dodges. So here we go. Take the cardinal. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, anti-knockback. 6, 7. Take cardinal.
Yosh.
And Yosh. Ikuzo. And there you go. So you have to take, remember, cardinal tower when you finish. So a marker and 1 marker will always be taken by the people that had meteor. Always. Okay, so here's another example of one of the meteors. Tanks and healers are prioritized to go out because one of the tanks and one of the healers has prey. So I go to my quadrant on east, and I know I'm not going out because there is a tower, only 1 tower outside, there isn't 2. Now if there were 2 towers, I would go out with my healer, okay? But because there's 1, I don't go out. It's taken and prioritized by my partner, the healer. So I look in the middle instead. Okay, once I look to the middle, I see there's a tower clockwise of me, I take it. And again, if a tower clockwise wasn't available to me, I would go to the center and fill that spot, okay? So here we go. I'm gonna go here, go in, and then take this, and then I'm literally just gonna stay here for the duration, and I will take the knockback towards this tower here, which is mine. So I chill, I chill, I chill. I wait till they do their thing. I get knocked back into my tower, clockwise of where I started, and boom, just like so. That's it. Okay, so here's an example where 2 tanks have prey, so tank healers prioritize going out, but there's 2 towers out. So now I go out, okay? Remember, it's mid, left, right. That's the priority. The priority for prey. If a cardinal is available, the prey role, or the tank and healer, the support roles, they would go middle. If middle isn't available, they take left. And then if left isn't available, they take right, okay? Which would be only 1 tower. So in this example, I go right and healer goes left. As you can see, healer points is gonna go left and I'm gonna go right. This means that the next sect of towers that I take is just gonna be clockwise of here. So as you can see, when I move here, and then I go to D marker. That's it, right on the intercardinal. And the healer takes cardinal after that. By default, they take cardinal. So remember, for the second set of tower that spawn, you have to know where you are. Intercardinal or cardinal. If it's cardinal, it means you are prey role. Your role is prey, so you have to prioritize cardinal. Okay? And there you go. And then we just wait it out. Meteors are doing their thing. We pop arm's length. And just like so. So after meteors are done, go to A marker. The boss is going to spawn there, and you're going to use your burst even windows right here. See, I use my mug, and I pop my feint. It's going to be a big raid wide coming. This part is pretty simplistic. Nothing too crazy. Just use your burst and unleash. The boss is going to do some swinging here. It's not gonna really, it doesn't do any damage, so don't worry. Here, you stay behind the boss. It's pretty simple. You stay behind the boss, and whichever side he swinged first, you're gonna go there. That's it. He swinged left, you're gonna go left. If you get hit by these, you pretty much get knocked to the edge of the map, and you're dead. So, don't get hit by him. Just move fast, and then you kill it. He will do another set of broad swings, and then he will enrage. But because we have so much damage, we just kill him, and then we start the next phase. And that's pretty much it. That is the entirety of Phase 2. I hope I explained this. I tried to showcase multiple POVs of things, just so people grasp the concept of things, and just how it's done, especially on Meteors. I think Meteors can be complicated. So hopefully I explained Meteors. This is the best I can explain it. Hopefully it's digestible. Yeah, I hope this helped. So yeah, I hope this guide has helped out. Thank you so much for watching. That's Phase 2. Next up is going to be Nitstinian, Phase 3, which is also my favorite phase in Dragonsong. I love Phase 3. It's awesome. So we'll be releasing that guide. But yeah, if you guys want to join LPDU once again, LPDU Discord is down in the description below. Make sure you join them, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys on the next guide. If you want to see Phase 1, again, it's down in the description below. Join our Discord, all that good stuff, if you'd like to. And yeah, best of luck on the PF Adventures, and good luck with Dragonsong. So, love you guys.